Let's talk about underdogs. Not the underdogs that get movie deals and dramatic theme music. No, I'm talking about the real underdogs, the ones who aren't even supposed to make the roster. The ones who have to practice harder, study longer, and hit faster just to get noticed. Enter Shilo Sanders. The lesser talked about Sanders. The one who doesn't throw touchdowns, do endorsement shoots with GQ, or drop signature colognes. The one who's been grinding in the background while all the lights were aimed at his brother Shadur. But last night, Shilo lit someone up on national television and changed the conversation.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This wasn't just a nice tackle. It was a statement. It was the kind of hit that makes everyone on the sideline go OHHHH, and the camera guy instinctively zoom in to catch who the hell just brought that much smoke. And when the name popped up on screen, Shilo Sanders, you could feel the shift. Suddenly, it wasn't just, oh yeah, Dion has another son in the league. It was, wait, he might be a problem. Let's rewind the tape for a second. Shilo came into the NFL as an undrafted free agent. No fanfare. No war room cheers. Just a signature on a contract and a shot in training camp. Guys like him? They're disposable in this league. They show up, play special teams, and maybe, they hang around the practice squad. Most are cut before week 1. So when Shilo stepped on that preseason field, he knew what time it was. This wasn't about looking polished. It wasn't about easing into the system. This was about survival. And on that one play, that one hit, he made it very clear he's not just here to fill a jersey. He's here to take one. The hit came early in the second quarter. A crossing route, standard stuff. The receiver had the ball in his hands for maybe half a second before Shilo came in like a guided missile. Perfect timing. Clean form. Shoulder first. No flag, just impact. The crowd reacted instantly. It wasn't just a tackle. It was an event. You could feel the sideline wake up. Coaches pulling up the play on tablets. Commentators scrambling to get his background. And on Twitter? Oh, Twitter ate it up. Within minutes, Shilo Sanders was trending. Clips of the hit were being replayed from 5 different angles. Fans were calling it the most exciting moment of the game. And suddenly, this undrafted kid, buried in the roster, was the face of the night. Let's not sugarcoat it. This league doesn't make room for players like Shilo. Unless you do something spectacular, something physical, something loud, you're gone. And what Shilo did, that was loud. But here's the kicker. This wasn't a fluke. Shilo didn't just show up for one highlight. He played with energy all night. He was locked in, solid in coverage, quick to the ball, communicating with vets like he belonged there. He wasn't chasing plays. He was anticipating them. That's what separates guys who get cut from guys who get contracts. Because one hit gets you on the highlight reel. But consistency? That gets you a spot on the roster. Now, compare that to Cam Ward. Number 1 overall pick. Golden Arm. The chosen one of this year's quarterback class. And look, Cam wasn't bad. He made some smart throws. He didn't throw any picks. The stats were fine. But that's just it, he was fine. Not electric. Not dangerous. Not game-changing. Just steady. And for a top pick? That's not enough. Not when a dude who didn't even get drafted is stealing your headlines with a single tackle. It's the perfect contrast. One guy walks in with a crown. The other crawls in through the back door with tape on his helmet. One guy has 3 years of job security. The other could be cut by Monday. But guess who everyone was talking about by the end of the game? It wasn't Cam. Shilo Sanders showed up with something to prove. And he proved it. This isn't about tearing down Cam Ward. The guy has talent. He's got time. He'll be fine. But what we saw last night wasn't about stats or pedigree. It was about urgency. Shilo played like every snap could be his last. Because it could be. That's the difference. Because for Shilo, there's no safety net. No guaranteed money. No fancy multi-year deal. He's auditioning for 31 other teams every time he steps on that field. One missed assignment, one drop coverage, And it's back to reality. Back to trying out for the XFL. Back to being just Dion's other son. But if he keeps this up, that label's gone. For good. He'll be Shilo Sanders, NFL safety. And he wasn't alone. While everyone was watching Shadur and now Shilo, two other names quietly balled out. B.J. Green and Xavier Weaver. Let's start with B.J. Green. This dude was everywhere. If the quarterback moved, B.J. was in the frame. Whether it was chasing down runners from behind or collapsing the pocket on third down, Green played like a man trying to collect rent from everyone in the backfield. He doesn't have first-round polish. He doesn't have flashy measurables. What he does have is relentless energy. Every rep was violent. Every step was urgent. And when you're fighting for a roster spot, there is nothing more valuable than that. Coaches love guys like BJ. Guys who don't need motivation. Who show up, go full throttle, and make everyone around them hustle harder. He may not have the name recognition yet, but if last night was any indication, he's going to be hard to ignore. And then there's Xavier Weaver. Talk about a technician. Every route was clean. Every break was sharp. He found soft spots in zone coverage like a GPS, caught everything thrown his way. Nothing flashy, just a steady chain mover who knows how to get open. You could see quarterbacks trust him. That's rare for a young receiver. Trust is currency in the NFL. And Xavier's quietly stacking it. By the end of the game, he'd quietly put together one of the most complete performances of the night. No drops. First downs. A few contested grabs. If you're a coach watching film, you're circling his name. You want that guy in your locker room. So while the cameras were focused on Cam Ward's poise or lack thereof, it was Shilo, BJ, and Xavier who owned the night. 3 names. No hype. No expectations. All grit. That's what makes preseason so fascinating. It's not just about starters going through the motions. It's about the hungry ones. The guys chasing opportunity. The guys who need every snap to mean something. And let's be clear, Shilo Sanders made it mean something. One hit. One moment, one night, but it might just be the start of something bigger. Because in the NFL, it doesn't matter how you get in. It matters what you do once you're there. And Shilo? He didn't just knock the door down. He exploded through it. And now, everyone's watching. Now, let's talk about what happens after the moment. Because for most undrafted rookies, even a viral hit doesn't guarantee anything. You don't get a handshake and a contract for lighting someone up in August. What you get is a meeting. You get a coach raising his eyebrow during film review. You get a couple more reps, a maybe, a sliver of a shot. That's what Shilo Sanders has earned. And it's everything. Because when you're playing with no draft pedigree, no guaranteed money, and no margin for error, those slivers, they're gold. One missed assignment could erase your whole storyline. One false step, and suddenly that highlight reel tackle is just a YouTube memory while you pack up your locker. But here's the thing about Shilo. He knows exactly where he stands. And he's leaning into it. You could hear it in his post-game interview. No gloating. No trying to sell himself. Just a focused, no-nonsense energy. He said something that stuck. That was just one play. I've got 70 more to make. 70. He didn't say one more. Or 5. He said 70. Because that's how guys in his position have to think. One play means nothing unless you can do it again. And again. And again. That's how you turn a highlight into a paycheck. And let's not forget the elephant in the room. He's still a Sanders. Everyone's looking to see if he can back up the name. Or if he's just the guy who gets retweeted because of who his dad is. The pressure? Immense. But the difference is, Shilo's not playing to be his father or his brother. He's playing like a guy who knows that if he doesn't earn it, nothing else matters. And to be honest, that might be his biggest edge. Because while first-round picks like Cam Ward get months, years, to grow into their potential, guys like Shilo only get moments. It's like being asked to build a house, but you're only handed a hammer and told to work during lightning storms. That's the undrafted life. Meanwhile, Cam Ward gets an entire construction crew, blueprints, and a press conference before he's even poured a foundation. Ward, to his credit, didn't bomb his debut. He threw with decent accuracy, protected the ball, moved through his reads. But the whole performance had that first day of school energy. A little too careful. A little too controlled. You could tell he was playing to avoid mistakes, not to make plays. And that's the curse of expectation. When you're the number one pick, you're expected to walk on water. Anything less than generational talent feels like a letdown. And when your first NFL action is more decent than dominant, the critics start circling like sharks. Shilo, on the other hand, he's not supposed to make the team. He's not supposed to even be here. Which means every tackle, every blown-up play, every pass deflection is a giant middle finger to the scouting reports that left him off their boards. The contrast is fascinating. One player is trying to live up to the hype. The other is trying to survive it. And this is the cruel irony of the NFL. Cam Ward can afford to have a slow start. He's got a 4-year deal, endorsements in the pipeline, and an entire franchise betting on his upside. Shilo? He might not even get a jersey next week if he slips up. One is playing chess with time. The other is playing dodgeball with landmines. But here's where it gets interesting. That kind of desperation, it's a weapon. You can't coach that edge. You can't teach someone how to play with that kind of urgency unless they've lived it. And Shilo lives it. You saw it in every snap after the hit. His eyes were different. His tempo picked up. He was reading plays faster. His footwork was tighter. It was like the adrenaline of that moment unlocked something. And the energy, it spread. You started seeing the sideline come alive. You started seeing teammates hyping him up. That spark? It's contagious. Coaches love that. Because that's what separates guys who fill roles from guys who lead units. And let's be honest, he fits the modern safety mold. He's physical. He's vocal. He's smart. And he's not afraid of contact. In today's league, where defenses are constantly reacting to increasingly creative offenses, guys like Shilo who can read and react quickly are gold. Especially when they can hit like a freight train. But here's what makes this even more dramatic. He's still got to do more. The NFL doesn't reward flash. It rewards consistency. And that's what Shilo is walking into this week, a test of whether that breakout moment was a spark or just static. The coaches will throw more at him. Trickier coverage packages. Faster receivers. More pre-snap motion. The game gets faster now. The leash gets shorter. Every single rep in practice is a job interview, and the tape doesn't lie. But if he keeps showing up like this, he's not just making the roster. He's going to force a decision. Because here's what teams hate. Letting a young, hungry, cheap defensive weapon walk out the door while he turns into a starter for someone else. And Shilo knows that. He's playing like he knows it. And so are B.J. Green and Xavier Weaver. B.J. has that hustle pass rusher energy that DCs drool over. The kind of guy who's not pretty but gets results. That one bull rush on the left tackle? Vicious. If you're an O-line coach reviewing film this week, you're circling that play and asking your guys, who the hell missed this chip block? And Xavier? He keeps doing the little things right. Route discipline. Blocking downfield. Timing his cuts perfectly. He's not a WR1, but he's looking a whole lot like someone's secret weapon in the slot. If there's one thing preseason teaches us every year, it's that the league is full of almost stories. Guys who were this close to making it. Who had the talent, but not the luck. Or the body, but not the moment. But Shilo? He had the moment. Now, it's about the follow-up. And as dramatic as it sounds, this is life-changing. A spot on the 53-man roster isn't just about a salary. It's about validation. About proving everyone wrong. About knowing that you didn't just almost make it. You did. And Shilo Sanders, with that hit, that game, and that energy, he just got dangerously close. Now we wait. Can he keep rising? Can he lock in? Can he take that one snap and turn it into a season? Or will the NFL, as it often does, chew him up and move on? That's the brutal beauty of this league. You don't just play the game. You fight for the right to play it again. The morning after Shilo Sanders' preseason hit, the highlight was already looping on every sports network, from ESPN to local affiliates. The clip was short, just a few seconds. A routine crossing route, a clean pop, a receiver flat on his back, helmet slightly tilted, Shilo standing over him for a split second before jogging back to the huddle, like he didn't just light up a grown man on national television. No flex, no taunt, just straight business. And that's what sent it over the edge. Because we've all seen big hits before. We've seen guys lay the wood and dance around afterward, pounding their chests. But Shilo? He delivered that hit like he'd done it 100 times. Like it was Tuesday at practice. Like it wasn't even worth celebrating. That's what makes coaches sit up in their chairs during film review. Not just the power, but the composure. You deliver a blow like that and act like it's routine? That's a player who's not shocked by his own ability. That's a guy who expects to be at this level. Who believes, deep down, he belongs here. And the rest of the game? He backed it up. Shilo didn't disappear after the hit. He wasn't a one-play wonder. He kept popping up in the right places, containing outside runs, rotating over the top on zone coverage, locking in on special teams. You want to impress an NFL staff as an undrafted guy? Show up everywhere. Be annoyingly useful. That's what Shilo did. Now let's not pretend this was just some feel-good underdog moment with a tidy little ending. This isn't a Disney movie. The NFL is a ruthless meritocracy, and Shilo's still fighting for a job every day. That hit didn't earn him a spot. It earned him a second look. That's it. And he knows it. He said as much in the locker room afterward. When reporters asked about the play, he shook his head. One play don't mean anything if you don't follow it up. He's not wrong. Every year, preseason heroes flame out. One big moment, one great game, then cut by week 3. You've got to stack those moments. You've got to turn them into habits. Because if Shilo doesn't make another splash next game, the hit becomes a trivia question. A one-off memory. Remember that Deion's kid who blew up that guy in preseason? But if he keeps making noise, if he starts stringing together impact plays on special teams, breaking up passes, forcing fumbles, then you're looking at something real. Something permanent. The talent is there. No question. Shilo's always had the speed. He's always been physical. And if you followed his college career, you know he plays with instincts. He's the kind of safety who feels where the ball's going. That sixth sense stuff. That unteachable awareness. But in the NFL, you need more than talent. You need trust. That's what separates the roster guys from the roster cuts. Coaches need to know you'll do your job every single play. No freelancing. No ego. No missed assignments. And if Shilo can prove he's that guy, the one who'll sacrifice his body on special teams, study the playbook like it's scripture, and bring energy every rep, he's making this team. Period. And the Sanders name? Yeah, it helps you get attention. But it also puts a target on your back. Everyone's watching to see if you're just hype. Everyone's waiting for you to slip. The pressure? It's different. But Shilo isn't buckling under it. He's thriving. And let's not forget, he's got BJ Green and Xavier Weaver right there with him, turning the entire preseason into their own personal revenge arc. BJ Green is playing like someone just told him his locker is being cleaned out in 48 hours. He's flying around like a linebacker possessed. No wasted movement, no hesitation. On one series, he rushed off the edge, forced a quarterback hurry, dropped into coverage on the next play, then made a shoestring tackle on a third down dump-off. 3 plays. 3 different roles. 3 different ways to say, I belong here. That's how you make noise as a fringe player. You show coaches they can put you anywhere and you'll give them results. BJ is doing exactly that. And Xavier Weaver? Quietly having one of the most technically sound preseasons of anyone on that roster. He's not flashy. He's not jumping out of the gym or breaking DB's ankles with viral highlight routes. But you put him in a slot, and he's open. Again and again. Short routes, option routes, crossers. He runs them all with surgical precision. He's a problem for secondaries. It's a kind of consistency that keeps offensive coordinators up at night thinking, I don't want to lose that guy to another team. So now we've got this trio, Shilo, BJ, Xavier, who were barely on anyone's radar 3 weeks ago. And suddenly, They're writing their names in permanent marker all over the coaching staff's notebooks. It's becoming impossible to ignore. And yeah, Cam Ward was the #1 overall pick. He'll get more chances, more reps, more leash. But look around. Whose name is buzzing? Who's in every group text? Who are fans Googling? Who are analysts clipping highlights of? Not Ward. Shilo Sanders, BJ Green, and Xavier Weaver. These guys aren't just playing for a spot on a depth chart. They're forcing conversations. That's the difference. Because in a league where talent is everywhere, what matters is impact. Moment-to-moment impact. What are you doing right now to move the needle? To change a game? To shift momentum? And all three of them? They're doing it. They're not just surviving the preseason. They're owning it. Now, will it be enough? That's the question. Because NFL rosters are cruel. You could be better than a guy who makes the team and still get cut just because of politics, draft status, or contracts. It happens all the time. It's not fair, but it's the business. So no matter how good Shilo is, he's still on the knife's edge. But the way he's playing, the way he's attacking every opportunity like it might be his last, you can't help but believe. And if you're rooting for someone this preseason, make it him. Not because he's Dion's kid. Not because he made one highlight tackle. But because he's fighting. For every inch. For every snap. For a dream that most people gave up on the second he went undrafted. That's what makes this more than a game. This is about a kid standing at the bottom of the mountain, looking up, not asking for a lift, but lacing up his cleats and saying, "Watch me climb." So, yeah, he shocked the league with a hit. Now, he's got our attention. Let's see what he does with it.